So far we learned how to create the routes or the navigation system. Then we learned how to create the registration form. Then we learned how to create a database on MongoDB. So in the last lecture, we learned how to create a database on MongoDB, and we created a project student information system app. And inside that, we created a student cluster, and inside that we made a database studentdb in which we had a collection student infos, but we did not create any schema for this collection or what we call table in MySQL, and we didn't even add any data. So we will define the schema as we mentioned before of this collection in a model. Okay, so model will be a kind of file in which we will specify the schema of the table, and we will map that schema with this collection student infos. So I'll go to my project, and in my server folder I'll create a model which will be a JavaScript file. So I will create a new file and I will give it a name student.js. In this I will create the model. Now to create the model I have to import a package called Mongoose. So import Mongoose from Mongoose. So first I will create the schema. So I'll call this schema as student schema. And for creating a schema, Mongoose package has a method called schema. And this schema will be defined using an object. So object is always in curly brace. And in the schema will be defined using the object where the key will be the key of the collection or something similar to the column name in the relational database. So here we'll call it key or the field. So since we have to store the student ID, student name, and email, password, and the department, so I will use those same names here. So my first field will be, let's say, student ID, and the value will again be an object because I have to define more than one property for this field. So here we are defining two properties. The first one is the type of data that this field will store. It's a string. And the second attribute I'm specifying is whether this field is required or not. That means the field is mandatory or not. So the value for this key will be either true or false. So this true is a Boolean value. So I define my first field, student ID, its type will be string and it is required. So similarly, I will define my other fields also. So student name, its type will be string, required, yes. So I'll give the value true here. Then field email, which will be used to store the email. So for this field, again type string, required, true. Field password, type string, required, say true. And the last one is the department, its data type string, and required also I want it to be true. So here I create the schema for my table. Now I will create the model in which I will map this schema to the table student infos. So for this I will create a model and call it, say, student model. Mongoose has a method called model which maps the schema with the collection. So the first argument for the model method is the name of the collection, which in our case is student infos. It's a good idea to copy this text to avoid any spelling mismatch and better paste here. So first first parameter is the name of the collection, and the second option is the name of the schema, which is student schema. So I'll copy from here and I will paste it here. So here I have created the student model which maps the student infos collection with the student schema which we just created here. So the last line will be, we'll export this student model. And this student model we will import in the server node.js file, where we will connect that server page to the database. And this student model will be helpful in all our CRUD operations, whether it is an insert program or reading something from the database or deleting something from the database table or updating the information in the database collection.